Hello, it is Wednesday, February 21st, 2024. I'm Chris Remo, and welcome back to the New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. And welcome back to my streak, which has been restored thanks to the efforts of Zach at the New York Times support team. So thanks very much to him for helping me sort that out. It is very reassuring to see that streak returned. And thank you as well to today, David Innes, Josh Lucas, Alex, and as always, the indomitable Showmaster, who are benefactors of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign, which means they sustain this channel. They keep it going day in, day out, as that streak increments up by the day. So thanks to them, and thank you to everybody who's a patron of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign. If you'd like to support the channel, keep this whole thing going, you can head over to patreon.com/dailysolve or click the link in the description field underneath the video. And if you do, you'll find the bonus videos available to patrons as well as for benefactors, the Let's Check the Crosses official mug. Thank you so much to everybody who backs the campaign at any level. And thanks as well if you subscribe to the channel on YouTube, if you like the videos, if you comment on them from time to time. Those things are all helpful, and maybe consider doing those things, or some subset of them. There's also the Daily Solve Discord chat server, which you can join in a description field link as well. And I popped over there myself this morning and saw that there's apparently quite a few sports-related clues in this puzzle. So let's see how I manage this athletic crossword. And on that note, let's get on with it. This is a Wednesday construction by Jeffrey Martinovic, and it's his third construction, I think. It was edited, as always, by Will Shorts. So let's start solving, see how we get on. Something a student may cut. Well, a student may cut class. You could not go to class. That's fairly straightforward, I think. One doesn't bother. Sorry, is this puzzle slightly wider than it is tall? Yeah, it is. Isn't it? It is. It's 16 wide and 15 tall. So it is just a slightly stocky grid, only by the slightest amount. Anyway, it'll be interesting to see if, based on the theme, we can infer why that might be the case. Anyway, doesn't bother. Let's be, maybe? I was thinking first doesn't bother as in doesn't bother to do something, but could be doesn't bother a person, lets them be. Team VIPs. Not sure. Team VIPs, probably ends with an S. Do as hair, style. If you style someone's hair, you sort of do it. Okay, well, we've got all these crosses, so let's look at those. Dramatis personae portrayers. So these are the cast of a play, for instance, who portray the characters. Actress and documentarian Rimini. Oh, Leah Rimini, I've heard of. That must be the answer. What about this in the across? Author of The Eagle and the Fox and the Fox and the Lion. And maybe the lion and the something else. But Aesop, who famously wrote, or at least Aesop, many fables attributed to Aesop. I don't know enough about whether we know anything about this historical personage or alias. Okay, Arthur of the Court, Arthur Ashe, famous tennis player. There's one. One sports figure has been identified. To be absorbed as a marinade, the marinade will be absorbed. It will sop up. It will soak up, maybe? It will be absorbed. Soak in? I'm not sure. What is this? Region that spans about 8% of the Earth's land area. Arabic. I mean, my first thought is Sahara Desert. But when it says Arabic, what does that mean? Does that just mean that Sahara derives from Arabic? It might mean something more specific than that. We'll find out. I mean, we can see that this is a theme clue, so this is clearly part of the theme in some manner, but we don't yet know. We don't yet know specifically the full scope of it. But let's keep going. Be absorbed as a marinade. Okay, maybe it is soak in. It will be absorbed. It will soak in. It seems reasonable enough. Rodin sculpture featuring a couple whose lips don't quite touch. The kiss. There we go. Rodin, also famous for The Thinker. Pole that extends a sail. Oh, Sprit. I think this was in the puzzle maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 days ago, perhaps. And I hadn't remembered, not a thing I think of as being in the puzzle all the time, so sort of notable that it's popped up twice recently. Addams Family Cousin. Cousin It is a character from the Addams Family. I always forget which. Is it the Harry one, maybe? I can't remember. First MLB team to use artificial turf in its stadium. Oh, the Astros? Is that why it's called AstroTurf? If so, I had no idea. That's interesting, or maybe it's unrelated. I don't know. I'm really interested about this, to know this now. Okay, well, there we go. Fellows are lads. Okay, straightforwardly enough. Prior to in poetry is ere, poetic way to indicate before. And blank virtue, 3-time world ice skating champion. This I definitely don't think I know. Definitely don't think. Well, yeah, I don't think I do. What about this? Where to watch the lightning and hurricanes. Well, these also look like team names as opposed to the natural phenomena. I mean, they're capitalized, so. I don't know where these teams are based. Sly sort. Sly. Can't quite see it. Grain in some hearty soup. Barley. There you go. You could make a barley soup. And is French question mark? So I think this is probably EST, which is the third person singular conjugation of is in French. Which I don't remember seeing that in the crossword before. I mean, I'm sure it has been, but it's not. I don't think of this as within the sort of stable of common French words that tend to be clued in the crossword. I could be wrong. Okay, arenas, where to watch the lightning and hurricanes. Okay, arenas. So I bet this does feel like sports knowledge, but not specific. You don't need specific knowledge. All you have to do is infer that these are team names because they're capitalized, and then you could imagine, oh, well, they play in arenas of some kind. Oh, Tessa virtue, maybe? I don't think that rings a bell to me, but it is a name, so it could fit. My gal Sal, there we go. That sounds more familiar. So this does look like Tessa, and then a sly sort is a sneak. Someone who sneaks around is sly. All right. Body of water bordering Nevada and California. Washoe. Oh, are these? Yeah, these. Okay, so these must be this is Lake Tahoe, which I definitely know and have been there a number of times. So these are going to be, I would think, languages from which these names are derived. So Sahara, Tahoe, these names are derived from Arabic, Washoe, and then we'll keep following that throughout the grid. So this is one of those themes where you don't really need to engage with the theme very much to solve these bits. We might to solve the revealer. We don't know yet. We'll get there eventually. Okay, team VIPs, we didn't know porridge grain and oat. Often you'd make porridge out of oats. And then to attempt something is to try it. And fencing option is a foil, one of the swords you can use in fencing. Someone, I think, told me in a comment, because I think I wondered this aloud, what is the difference between a foil and an épée? And I think one of them is triangular in shape and cross-section, but I don't remember which it was, annoyingly. But there we have it. Penguin's Great Lemieux. Oh, here's another. It's another sports figure, and this one I don't recognize at all. Could be Mario or Dario. I mean, those are both names that would fit. Team VIPs. Oh, GMs, general managers? That must be it. So this would be Mario. And then what all good children do in a nursery rhyme. All good children go to heaven, I guess. There we go. Is that the rhyme from which the Beatles derived that kind of repeating chorus at the end of, what is it, You Never Give Me Your Money? Okay, well, there it must be that. Anyway, days past, days past, the olden days. And Persian language Farsi, there we go. So another reference to a language. I assume this is not part of the theme. Often you get this where constructors will sort of tip the hat to the theme without a clue necessarily actually being part of it. I think that's the case here. Okay, they might be guided. You could have guided tours. And electricity bill datum would be usage. Fellow is a gent, maybe? A fellow, a lad, a gent. And then, we did have lads in here before. I guess lad is certainly less formal than gent. Okay, therefore, ergo. So at the end of a proof, you might say, well, this and this and this, ergo, my conclusion. If you're excited about something, you're into it. And what about this short answer? Biological molecule would be RNA. There we go. Ribonucleic acid, I think. Actor McGregor is Ewan McGregor. And blank Raducanu, 2021 U.S. Open women's tennis champion. Okay, well, Emma Raducanu, who's quite a phenomenon here in the UK, so at least for that reason, I maybe am more aware of her than I might be of some of these figures. So there we go. Emma Raducanu. Shakespearean fairy queen, Queen Mab. And so from referenced in Midsummer Night's Dream, or I think. Anyway, I think that's the answer. Well, no, I mean, I'm sure that's the answer. I'm just trying to remember where she's referenced. Cry out to wail, maybe. And what some workout videos promise. Abs of steel? That fits. I remember everything used to be of steel. You don't hear that as much these days, but I remember in sort of, I don't know, the 90s, I bet maybe even more the 80s, I don't know. That'd be before my active memory, but everything was of steel, buns of steel and abs of steel and all this kind of thing. Okay, landmark on which most U.S. radio stations base the start of their call signs, with W on the east and K on the west. Oh, the Mississippi River. So in the U.S., the Mississippi River is indeed often used as a delineation between east and west. You'll often think, such and such is the most something east of the Mississippi or west of the Mississippi, and so on. And then, that does govern how radio call signs are formulated. And here we go with W on the east and K on the west. I don't remember why it's W and K. I think I've read about this in the past, but I certainly couldn't remember. Anyway, Mississippi comes from Algonquin, so there we go. I'm sure that is a thing I've learned before, but it wouldn't have known it off the top of my head. But it sounds familiar. Anyway, little brats are... not sure. What about this one? Together with could be along with, together with, along with. And to investigate persistently would be to dig in. I think that'll be the answer there. Playground retort, it's one of these. I have to say, I'm not the most crazy about this category, this playground retort category, which could be things like, well, actually, what do I think this one is? Do so or so? I don't know, actually. Well, it's often things like am so, am not, are so, are not, that kind of thing. Maybe that's not what this one is. I don't know. I don't immediately. Usually I recognize these immediately, but not in this case. Eye-opening experience. LASIK, laser eye surgery, which sort of, I think it literally sort of peels off a tiny bit of your lens as part of the procedure. So maybe that's what it means by eye-opening. I'm not quite sure. But I think that's the answer. Clay targets informally. Skeets, like skeet shooting with, shooting clay targets. And then what is this? Loch Ness in Scotland, of course. So there we go. Straightforward enough. Playground report. Oh, does so. Okay, so yes, again, does not, does so. Right, okay, that would be your retort. Okay, so, even more possibilities than what I listed before. And you just have to get it through the crosses. Here we have Apes, Weapon, and Planet of the Apes. So spear, I guess. I'm sure I've seen the original Planet of the Apes, but not in a very long time. International Oil Group is OPEC, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. And commonly torn band, for short, is the ACL, the Anterior cruciate ligament, I believe. That's sufficient, I guess. It'll do. Yeah, that works. Certain mattress material. This does not immediately ring a bell to me. What about this one? Little snots, little snots maybe. So mattress, foam? Oh, maybe this isn't dig in? Investigate persistently. Oh, dig at. You could dig at a story, I guess you could say, as a journalist or something. Okay, so then this would be a foam mattress. And then it's just an illusion. A mirage is an illusion, something that you think you're seeing but is not physically present. Nation that shares an island with part of Indonesia, and then here Indonesian is the source language, appropriately enough, so East Timor. And Timor I put in the crossword yesterday, accidentally, when I was trying to think of Timon, and just put the wrong thing in the grid. There we go. Okay, to fall behind is to lag, and to take a light or two is to ignite something. Oops. At least I caught my typo this time. To have fun. Oh, no, it's not to have fun. It's to say have fun. Have fun. Enjoy. That's it. And long, long times are eons, maybe, spelled in this manner, which I associate more with British English. Usually in American English, you'll get this you'll get eon spelled like this, but let's see if this is correct. So takes home nets. So if you salary, you take home salaries or net salary, so after taxes, etc. Mud to refer to coffee, also can be referred to as Joe. And then Beatles compilation album made up entirely of their number blanket. So this is one. I remember when this album came out, it was only number one. Or, they had enough that I think it was even a double album, maybe. Can't remember. But anyway, that was the name of the album. And then big fashion initials, YSL. So Yves Saint Laurent is a big fashion, I assume late designer. And now brand. Okay, so we can move on. I think we looked at everything around there, yeah. Governor DeSantis, Ron DeSantis, there's a U.S. political clue, was running for president. And then get on is to mosey, I guess, to mosey, to get on. And how ballerinas often perform, on toe, characteristically of ballet dancers. And then fortune tell is to augur, to foresee, to look into the future, to augur. And commercial spaces in an app, maybe ad units, I guess. So yeah, I suppose they must use this. I think of ad units as being sold in, newspapers and television programming blocks and things, but I guess they must call that in apps as well, ad units. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't carry on that terminology. Okay, so, here's our revealer finally. So this says, like the names of 18, 25, 40, and 50 across, vis-a-vis the bracketed languages. Past something logical? Is it going to be something, what is it getting at? I bet it ends with CAL. Oh, why can't I see it? Freezes over, if a lake freezes over it, ice is over. Scale button is tear, so, on a scale, you'd press the tear button to kind of normalize the weight, including whatever's already on the scales, to, for instance, the container or something. Thin cut could be a slit, maybe. And then here we have wombs or uteri, so you say, in utero, for instance. Start over is to reset. There we go. Some pub brews are ales. Okay, so this does end with logical. Why do I not see what this is? To look away from is to... Oh, do I have something wrong here? Get on to... Maybe that's wrong. Look away from. Okay, well, look away from made me think I had something wrong here, which is why I second guess this, but I still don't actually see what it is. Look away from. Okay, what about this one? Some downtown street liners. I have no idea what that's asking for. Get on. Cook with a long history at Apple. Tim Cook is the C. Oh, tautological. Oh, interesting. Oh, wow, that's great. Okay, let's look at this quickly. Well, we'll finish the. No, let's just look at it now. So these are tautological. Okay, so Sahara must mean desert in Arabic. Tahoe must mean lake in Washoe. Mississippi must mean river in Algonquin, and I guess Timor means island in Indonesian or nation or something. Actually, this one I'm not sure about. Oh, east maybe. East Timor that must be what it is. East, I guess it must mean. That's really interesting. I assume that's what this is saying. I hope I'm not misinterpreting the revealer. You get things like that. You get things like that in lots of geographical names, because it's incredibly normal for people to name things by just describing what they are, and then over time, as languages change, you just end up with these slightly self-referential names as things get built over and languages modify and so on. That happens all the time globally, and it's always a funny thing to observe. Well, anyway, there we go. Very good. Let's just finish the puzzle off if I'm able to. So get on. I mean, after all that, East Timor can't possibly be wrong. I don't see how that would be wrong. Get on. Why do I not see what that is? Look away. Oh, look away from is ignore. To look away from something, to ignore it. Oh, mount, as in to get on a horse, to mount a horse. That I just did not see. I should have thought of that as well, because in French, the verb monter, it actually does sort of mean to get on, I don't know, get into a car, like all sorts of meanings like that. So probably should have triggered something given the crosses there. And Bobby of Bruin's lore. Right, okay. I haven't actually seen Bobby Orr in a while. We've got Orr and Ott, Bobby Orr and Mel Ott, two incredibly, I think of as being sort of crossword standbys, but haven't seen them as much recently. Maybe they've been trying to clamp down on the uses of Orr and Ott recently, because I remember there was a period of a few years where they were popping up all the time. Anyway, some downtown street liners are as in parking meters. Okay, that's what that is. So there we go. There we go. A really fun theme with a great quartet of tautological place names. Very good. Sahara Desert, Lake Tahoe, Mississippi River, and East Timor, which, if I'm interpreting the revealer correctly, I hope I am, would roughly translate to something like desert, desert, lake, lake, river, river, and east, east. I hope those assumptions are not too far off the mark. But that's what it seems like when it says tautological. In other words, something that kind of defines itself or means itself. X equals X is, tautological equation. Anyway, there we go. That was the Wednesday crossword. Really enjoyed that one. Hope you did as well. Didn't seem too tough for a Wednesday puzzle, but let me know how you fared in the comments or the Discord chat server. Always curious to know. And I'll be back tomorrow for the Thursday crossword with what will likely be a more intricate or involved or challenging theme, so join me for that. But until then, please do have an excellent remainder of your Wednesday. Take care.